After the speech of Vice President Vance on Friday, we have to fear that our common value base is not that common anymore.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. I really do believe that allowing our citizens to speak their mind will make them stronger still, which of course brings us back to Munich, where the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations. We don't have to agree with everything or anything that people say. But when people represent, when political leaders represent an important constituency, it is incumbent upon us to at least participate in dialogue with them.
Free speech remains free speech and remains part of our open democratic society. But fake news, hate speech and offences remain subject to legal restraints. I should say that in front of the events which took place in DC yesterday, we would never kick out a news agency out of the press room of our Chancellor.
Yes, Vance told the show at my security conference everywhere on internet they are talking about this. And this chairman you just saw break down in tears after that speech. I don't know why there is this freak out. Vance did something that a lot of people expected. Watching Trump yesterday, he was amazed by that speech. Vance pointed countries what they are doing from one after another. They were in shock. They never expected that. I don't know if this is a breakup between Europe and America or what exactly. Like, there is something currently going on. Trump is to meet with Russian president in Saudi Arabia for these peace talks. Zelensky today made it clear, like, anything that is coming out from that place, he will not accept. On this clip, we are going to take an exclusive look into all this.
Why would our allies or anybody be irritated by free speech and by someone giving their opinion? We are, after all, democracies. The Munich Security Conference is largely a conference of democracies in which one of the things that we cherish and value is the ability to speak freely and provide your opinions. And so I think if anyone's angry about his word, they don't have to agree with him, but to be angry about it, I think actually makes his point. I thought it was actually a pretty historic speech, whether you agree with him or not. I think the valid points he's making to Europe is we are concerned that the true values that we share, the values that bind us together with Europe, are things like free speech and democracy and our shared history in winning 2 world wars and defeating Soviet communism and the like. These are the values that we shared in common. And in that Cold War, we fought against things like censorship and oppression and so forth. And when you see backsliding and you raise that, that's a very valid concern. We can't tell them how to run their countries. He simply expressed in a speech his view of it, which a lot of people frankly share. And I thought he said a lot of things in that speech that needed to be said. And honestly, I don't know why anybody would be upset about it. People are allowed, you don't have to agree with someone's speech. I happen to agree with a lot of what he said, but you don't have to agree with someone's speech to at least appreciate the fact they have a right to say it, and then you should listen to it and see whether those criticisms are valid. I assure you, the United States has come under withering criticism on many occasions from many leaders in Europe, and we don't go around throwing temper tantrums about it.
This conference started as a transatlantic conference. After the speech of Vice President Vance on Friday, we have to fear that our common value base is not that common anymore. Let me conclude, and this becomes difficult.
J.D. Vance's speech is a watershed moment. He is not an enemy trying to humiliate us. He is a friend trying to make us realise how far we strayed from the path that made us once great. International security against tyrants like Putin is about strength. And essentially what he's getting at is that we cannot be collectively strong unless we are individually strong. Europe and Britain have become weak. We have become a group of pathetic countries tugging at the skirt of America. Of course, we always have to stand by Ukraine, but there is such hypocrisy in our behaviour. We cannot control our own borders, which are ruled by activists, judges and courts, but we jump to try and secure Ukraine's borders. We talk about restoring democracy in Ukraine, but we cancel council elections and try to reverse referendum results. We champion freedom for Ukrainians, but have police intimidate citizens for things like non-crime hate incidences. Our biggest security threat actually comes from radical want to impose new definitions of Libya, which will stop people criticizing it. We talk about building Ukraine's military when our own military would barely last 6 months in open combat. We talk about returning Ukraine to prosperity, but we face a national debt crisis with almost no growth. We marvel at the agricultural wealth of Ukraine while losing our own prime farmland to solar panels. At a time where international supply chains are completely unstable, we commit industrial...
That America knows more about democracy than they do. This coming from a party that staged a coup on January 6th.
This is what we are talking about, free speech. J.D. Vance expressed himself what he thinks is going on, and they are freaking out. What Marco Rubio just said here, that is the truth. I don't understand till now why these people hate the truth, because this targeted speech, everywhere in most of these countries is simply because people are able to speak up. They don't like that. Shut up your mouth. That's just what they do every single day. Reason they even arrest people in the UK if you speak up against what they don't like. I have seen this over and over. And that's exactly what J.D. Vance did. Nothing contrary. So tell me what exactly is actually happening in these countries if you can't be able to express yourself the way you like. Their main target was Elon Musk. Oh, Elon Musk, X, and TikTok, things like that. If they don't want, they should just close down all social media platforms.
And expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what no democracy, American, German, or European, will survive is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered.
Yes, J.D. Vance shocked the establishment when he accused them of hiding behind defamation campaigns simply because someone might express an alternative viewpoint or even win an election. Vance is alluding to the massive AfD success.
I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet.
Yes, when you take a look at this, left-wing German Defense Minister Boris goes after J.D. Vance for blasting the EU in his speech. This is not acceptable. The clapping seals in Europe are upset that an American vice president just shoved the uncomfortable truth right in their faces. Do better, Europe.
This is why I cannot just ignore what we heard before. I cannot not comment on the speech we heard by the US Vice President. We fight for your right to be against us. That is the motto, one of the mottos of the Bundeswehr, and it stands for our democracy. This democracy that was just called into question by the US Vice President, and not just the German democracy, but Europe as a whole. He spoke of the annulment of democracy, and if I understood him correctly, he compares the condition of Europe with the condition that prevails in some authoritarian regimes.
I was impressed watching J.D. Vance speaking like this. It gives some different vibes. You feel different, when you listen to this compared to when Kamala Harris was vice president. I've not seen a single virus, segment where she had.
Elon Musk makes $8 million a day. My brain's broken. Because of it, my brain is broken.
I have mentors in the Reagan administration who came in looking for these things, and those people were not technical. And so when they went to the bureaucracy and they asked questions, there's so many ways of obscuring and blocking and deterring. And so what Elon did is he got root access, and he went to tech systems themselves. No one has done this in ever.
The aspiration here is a reduction in regulation and reduction in government spending such that the economy is able to grow.
How do you feel like it's been doing the show through the Trump era?
I think it has been terrible and fun. I think I get a lot of enjoyment.
Speaking, I think most Americans are going to have this sense that, Trump is telling the truth.
So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announced that the Associated Press has been banned from the Oval Office.
As press secretary, and nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given.
Are Black Africans, yet only 4% of those Black Africans own the land.
Yeah. Thank you guys for always being there sharing on my videos. I don't want to make it long. If you see clips behind here, this is for the algorithm. Someone asked me, is it helping your channel? Yes, it is helping the channel. If it was not helping, I would not put.
Mind-boggling that he would be shutting down PEPFAR.
A bully and a thug who is the president of the United States. U.S., it's everywhere.
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits. A chance to see what happens when you take a business approach to the government in the White House. We're seeing right now with this whole U.S. aid thing where they're uncovering massive amounts of corruption.
And also, I got to say, don't you agree? I totally agree.
Essential.
Early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
To her.
No. The EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And
awful things have happened. So and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag
are somebody in policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need.
He's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
Right now you're looking straight. Remember it.
We as a country about January.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know.
Jim Jordan.
Josh Green, the governor. Watch the news or talk.
Now look, I have a lot of.
The Democratic Party has about everything.
The next department that appears to be on the chopping block is the Department of Education. Just earlier today,
the biggest loser on Team Chiefs, literally right next to us was Taylor Swift. And then to the left was Donald Trump. Those are boos.
Well, the Super Bowl is officially under.
I've been shocked by how undemocratic the Democratic Party can be.
I tell you what makes me a little not calm. Trump